Flashback to the day the true daughter returned to the estate. I got this power, to let certain people hear my inner voice.
Chloe has enjoyed a life of luxury for 16 years. Even got all the love from our parents. All of it. Should have been mine. All I wanted was a little courtyard. Can't Chloe even give me that?
That familiar whine filled my ears. I looked up. Hazel was sobbing in Mom's arms, crying her heart out. Mom's heart ached, tears falling. Liam looked at me, wanting to say something, but holding back, torn between us. Dad gazed at his own flesh and blood, his eyes full of pity. He was about to speak too, but then a strange voice whispered in his ear, I was reborn. Right now, the true daughter Hazel had just returned to the estate, demanding my courtyard. Dad froze. He looked at me. But I wasn't saying a word. I just kept my eyes down. It all started today. Hazel started scheming the moment she returned. Got our whole family exiled and stripped of everything. The reason she wanted my courtyard. It was the most secluded spot. Perfect for her secret meetings with that enemy spy. Last time, I gave it up for the sake of family peace. Not this time. I won't let her have her way. Dad was shaken to the core. His eyes went wide. He turned to look at Hazel. Sure enough, she was putting on a show. While watching everyone's reactions from the corner of her eye, he took a deep breath and spoke in a low voice.
Moving all that luggage is a hassle. Hazel just got home, after all. No need to rush. For now, you'll stay in a guest room. We'll set this matter aside for now. And discuss it later.
Mom and Liam were both taken aback, but Dad was firm.
Have a maid take Hazel to rest.
Hazel wasn't getting her way today. Playing the long game, she didn't push it. She stopped crying, sniffling instead.
My mistake. For saying such bitter things. Putting you all in an awkward position. And upsetting Chloe. How about? Why doesn't Chloe show me to the guest room? We can get to know each other on the way.
Dad heard my thoughts again. What do I do? She'll definitely make things hard for me. But Dad just took my side. He's already favoring me. If I refuse even this, won't I seem too unreasonable and disappoint the Sterling family's teachings? Dad's frown deepened. He was about to speak, but then he heard me bite my lip. Fine. Come with me, Hazel. We went to a secluded corner. And there, Hazel showed her true colors.
Hey, Hazel. Don't think that old fool's pity for you makes you better than me. Now that I'm back, you have no place in this house.
I gritted my teeth. I took over your life. And for that, I feel guilty, but you shouldn't speak of Dad that way.
So what if I did? What are you gonna do about it?
I can't do anything. But I glanced sideways. There, at the corner, I saw the hem of a robe. It had the same water and cloud pattern Dad wore today. My heart leaped. Just as I suspected, ever since I was reborn, I've had the ability to let specific people hear my inner voice. Some things, if said out loud, might not be believed. But if someone overhears and gets suspicious, they'll come looking for answers. Sure enough, I'd barely returned to my room and sat for less than the time it takes to drink a cup of tea when Dad summoned me to grind ink in his study. Clearly, he wanted to probe the secret of my inner voice. Dad is a high-ranking official. His study is usually off limits to outsiders. I haven't been here many times. This time, I just kept my head down, focused on grinding the ink. I didn't dare say a word. And then, of all times, Hazel showed up. The moment she stepped in, her eyes darted around the study. They were gleaming with what looked like pure admiration for Dad.
Dad. These calligraphy pieces and paintings. Did you create them all yourself? Back in our village, when the schoolteacher wrote just a few characters, I thought it was the most beautiful thing. Now I see how narrow my view was.
I thought to myself, oh no. She's about to ask Dad to teach her to read. In reality, she just wants easy access to the study, to plant forged evidence of treason. My poor daddy, loyal and patriotic his whole life, was framed for treason by his own daughter in the end. He was torn limb from limb. I have to warn Dad. How do I tell him? Dad was utterly shaken. The next second, Hazel spoke exactly as I predicted.
It's just a shame that schoolteachers said it's useless for girls to learn. So now I'm practically illiterate. I can't compare to Chloe, who's so accomplished in the fine arts. Daddy, would you teach me to read?
Her eyes were gleaming. She was desperately hoping Dad would agree. Little did she know, a storm was already raging in Dad's heart. Dad's voice was calm and measured as he began to probe.
I'll find you a tutor. How about that?
Hazel whined.
No. I want you to teach me, Daddy.
Dad drew a sharp breath, clenching his fists to steady himself. Chloe predicted every word. Hazel waited and waited for a response, and started putting on a show, crying again.
I know you're swamped with work, Daddy. It's just. We missed out on 16 years together. Dad took a deep breath.
He forced the words out through gritted teeth.
There's no rush. I'm very busy with official duties right now. Let's wait a month or two. Then I'll teach you myself.
Dismissed twice with the same excuse, Hazel threw a fit right then and there. Tears welled up in her eyes. Weeping delicately.
Don't you like me, Daddy?
Hazel,
Suddenly, Dad slammed the paperweight down on the desk. It made a loud crash.
if you want to cry, go outside. You're disturbing the peace in my study. You are not allowed in my study from now on. Now get out.
Hazel couldn't believe her ears. She never imagined her father would shoo her away with such disgust. She could only comfort herself in her heart. She just came home. Feelings can be nurtured over time. Plans can be made later. No need to rush. Hazel wiped her tears and offered a sincere apology. She left the study, glancing back repeatedly, playing up her grievance and reluctance. She didn't see the cold glint in her father's eyes, nor did she see the cold smile on my lips. If Dad didn't want to keep her around to investigate her dealings with the enemy spy, she wouldn't have even left the study alive. Oh, Hazel, this time, you're destined to fail. That night, Mom asked Dad, a hint of displeasure in her tone.
I heard. You were harsh with Hazel earlier? Just because she went into your study?
Mentioning this, Dad's expression turned stern.
She complained to you?
Your daughter is upset. And you won't even let her talk about it?
Mom reached out to hit Dad.
Your own daughter just came home. Can't you speak to her nicely?
Dad dodged, his face serious.
This is a serious matter. You don't understand.
Mom was confused. Dad was evasive.
Anyway, you should be on your guard too. This daughter isn't as innocent as she appears.
Mom pressed further. But Dad didn't know how to explain.
He could only say, there are some things in this world that can't be explained with words.
Naturally, Mom wasn't satisfied with that answer. She had finally found her real daughter. Reunited after 16 long years. After all, blood is thicker than water, and Hazel clung to her especially. Calling her Mom melted her heart every time. A few days later, Mom sent a maid to summon me, saying she had something to discuss with me. I could tell Mom still preferred Hazel. She couldn't stand seeing her stuck in the guest room, and she knew Hazel had her eye on my courtyard. Sure enough, the moment I finished my bows, Mom got straight to the point.
I've had the east courtyard cleaned up. You can pack your things and move there later.
I didn't bat an eye. Didn't argue either. I just nodded. I just said softly, yes. As you wish, Mother. Seeing how distant I was being, Mom frowned and let out a sigh.
Chloe, don't think I'm playing favorites. Hazel is my flesh and blood, after all. Every time I hear about what she went through those 16 years, I just want to give her the world. Still, I've raised you for 16 years, and I do care about you. The Sterling family has money. What's 2 more daughters? We can afford that. When it's time for you to marry, I won't hold back. I'll still treat you as my own, and send you off with a proper dowry.
Seeing tears in Mom's eyes as well, I bowed my head respectfully in gratitude. Suddenly, my inner voice rang out in her ear. What a shame. In my past life, Mom never lived to see my wedding day. She met a tragic end far too soon. Mom was stunned.
What did you say?
I looked up, confused. I didn't say anything, Mother. Mom couldn't help but recall the strange things Dad had muttered. Her thoughts were racing.
What past life? What tragic end?
Just then, Hazel suddenly burst in.
Mom, I made you some ginseng chicken soup. It'll do wonders for your skin and your health. You should have some while it's still hot.
Mom felt a rush of warmth.
She pushed all other thoughts aside
and said with a smile,
Your thoughtfulness is enough. You could have left this to the maids. No need to do it yourself.
Hazel glanced at me kneeling on the floor and put on an even sweeter tone.
I grew up in a village. I'm used to chores and farm work. It's really no trouble at all. I just wanted you to taste my cooking, Mom.
They were completely wrapped up in each other. Like I wasn't even there. Mom was just about to take a sip when she heard my anxious inner voice. What do I do? Maybe I should ask for a taste and accidentally spill it. Mom's expression immediately hardened. She frowned and looked at me. Her precious Hazel went to all this trouble, and I just want to ruin it.
She really is jealous of Hazel. After raising her for 16 years, who would have thought she'd be so petty?
Mom was about to coldly order me to go pack my things. But then my inner voice reached her again. How can I tell Mom that the daughter she adores has been poisoning her every day? That she'll make her bleed to death with her eyes wide open. The white porcelain spoon suddenly fell to the floor. It shattered with a crash, splattering all over. Hazel gasped in shock.
Mom, what happened?
Mom forced herself to calm down. She waved it off, saying it was nothing. Her face darkened slightly. She called for her trusted maid.
Daisy, clean this up. My old problem with dizziness and shaky hands is acting up again.
Fetch Dr. Miller. I knew it. Mom wanted to call Dr. Miller to check if the soup was poisoned, just like I said. Daisy had served her for many years. She was the sharpest. She didn't ask when Mom developed this old problem. She just nodded and immediately went to fetch Dr. Miller. The dropped spoon seemed like just a minor incident. Hazel still looked full of anticipation.
I'll get another spoon for you, Mom.
But Mom set the soup aside.
No rush. I'll drink it later. seeing Hazel about to urge her again.
Mom quickly changed the topic.
Since you're here, I need to tell you something. I've prepared a new room for you. You can move in there.
Hazel was stunned. She glanced at me kneeling on the floor, and couldn't help adding,
Didn't you say before, Mom, that you'd have Chloe give her courtyard to me? Is it because Chloe doesn't agree?
I naturally had to play my part fully. I looked up at Mom, bewildered, and started thinking again. Didn't Mom want me to give my courtyard to Hazel? Has she suddenly changed her mind? No matter what, I can't embarrass Mom, so I spoke up. After all, I've lived in that courtyard for so long. Over time, I've grown attached. Hazel's nose wrinkled, her eyes immediately welled up with tears.
Chloe, what you're saying, are you implying that because I wasn't raised here, I'm not close to my parents?
Before I could speak, Mom said coldly.
Chloe was just explaining, why are you reading so much into it?
Hazel never expected Mom, who always favored her, to suddenly speak up for me. For a moment, she gritted her teeth. But in the end, she lowered her head and yielded.
It's my fault.
Normally, Mom would have comforted Hazel by now. But now, she stared at the soup bowl beside her. Her thoughts were racing. She waved us off and said,
I'm a bit tired, you can all go now.
As Hazel left, she reminded her,
Mom, don't forget to drink the soup. I made it myself.
Mom managed a weak smile, to show she knew. Not long after, Daisy returned with Dr. Miller. After a careful examination, Dr. Miller declared,
This soup is poisoned. The poisoner was clever. The dose is tiny. An ordinary person wouldn't notice. But if you drink it daily, it'll kill you.
Mom swayed, and nearly fell if Daisy hadn't caught her. She was trembling all over, tears streamed down her face. Her own child, lost for 16 years, had come all this way home, only to come to kill her. Daisy was furious, gritting her teeth. Thank goodness you were careful, madam. Or you'd have died without even knowing. Mom's heart trembled. She couldn't help feeling remorseful. She doubted and resented me before, and truly wronged me.
Daisy, pick out a gold hairpin from my jewelry box. Give it to the young lady.
Daisy hesitated. Which young lady, madam? Mom snorted.
Daisy, remember this. In this house, there's only one young lady, Chloe.
Although Hazel didn't know she had already, unbeknownst to her, lost her parents' trust, she could keenly sense their distance. Despite her best efforts, she made little progress. With no other choice, she turned to Liam. Liam had practiced martial arts since childhood. He wielded a spear with great skill. With the military exam approaching, he spent almost all day in the training hall. Hazel often brought him pastries or sweet soup. Liam was naturally deeply moved. He wanted to be kinder to Hazel, who'd suffered so much. One evening on his way home, he bought a gold filigree bracelet from a shop, as a gift for Hazel.
It's the latest style. Since you just came home, you don't have much jewelry. I picked one up for you. If there's anything else you like, just let me know. I'll get it for you.
Hazel was thrilled. She took it, treasuring it like a gem.
Thank you, Liam.
Hazel sniffled, and even shed a few tears. Liam quickly comforted her.
Don't cry. What's the matter?
Hazel wiped her tears, and smiled.
I've been tossed around by life's storms, endured so much pain. All I ever wanted was a big brother to protect me. Now that wish came true, and Liam is so tall and mighty, like the god of war himself, descended from heaven. How could I not be over the moon? I really envy Chloe. Got to have Liam looking after her for 16 whole years.
Hazel lowered her eyes.
I have a selfish wish.
I wish Liam could be my brother, and mine alone. Her words tugged at Liam's heartstrings and filled him with delight. He was so overjoyed, he got carried away. He completely forgot I even existed, and agreed without a second thought.
Then I'll be your brother and yours alone.
Hazel's eyes lit up. She took Liam's hand and poured on the praise. Her flattery went right to his head. Even on his way back to his own courtyard, his steps were practically floating. But just as he turned the corner, he bumped right into me. Realizing I'd probably seen it all, the smile on Liam's face froze solid. I just let out an awkward laugh. As if I was just passing by, bowed and tried to slip past him. Liam breathed a sigh of relief, thinking I hadn't heard. Then, my voice suddenly rang in his ears. After 16 years together, you've never once given me a present. Liam stopped in his tracks. He was confused, and a little shocked. Blood is thicker than water, after all. No wonder you want to be Hazel's brother, and hers alone. He realized it was my inner voice. He quickly called out to stop me. I turned back, pretending to know nothing. Was there something else, Liam? Liam hemmed and hawed. Then he finally managed to ask,
I just gave Hazel a bracelet. It's the latest style in the capital. Do you want one? If you do, I can buy one for you too.
My eyes lit up for a split second, but then I just smiled and waved it off. You're not exactly rolling in money either. Your monthly allowance isn't much more than mine. I can't let you waste your money on me. With that, I made an excuse about having things to do, and hurried away. Liam watched me leave, wanting to say something but holding back. A couple of days later, one night, Hazel barged into my courtyard, eyes red, pointing at me. she immediately started crying and accusing me of stealing her bracelet. I watched her performance coldly. At her signal, without my permission, her maids, who were ready for this, swarmed in. They rushed into my room and started tearing it apart. Sure enough, they found the gold filigree bracelet under my pillow. With the physical evidence now found, Hazel looked utterly confident of victory. She started wailing loudly again, deliberately making a huge scene to draw Liam over. And when Liam arrived, I got Liam's attention. I waited for him to arrive. He came running at the sound. Without a word, she threw herself at his feet, sobbing her heart out.
Chloe's got so many treasures and jewels, and she still wants more. That bracelet was the first gift Liam ever gave me. It means the world to me.
But little did I know, Liam's expression darkened more and more.
It was me. I bought another identical one for Chloe.
Hazel's sobs cut off abruptly. She was speechless for a long moment. Since she's speechless, guess it's my turn to speak. I calmly wiped a tear from the corner of my eye. Hazel lost something. She didn't search anywhere else. She didn't send the servants to look. Why come straight to my courtyard? Almost like she already knew she'd find it if she searched my yard. Hazel bit her lower lip hard. She looked like she was about to burst into tears. Liam was just about to say
that there must be some misunderstanding.
When he heard me sigh again, never mind. Hazel must have been anxious in the moment. It's nothing, really. Let's not make a big deal out of this now. No need to let Mom and Dad know. Liam frowned slightly. The next instant, he heard my inner voice. Is less than I is greater than. She's just trying to make a scene so Liam will grow to resent me. For the peace of the family, I guess I'll just have to put up with it. Is less than, I is greater than, and Liam's frown deepened. Before leaving, he shot Hazel several sharp glances. That night, I toyed with the two identical bracelets. I chuckled coldly. I know. This is just the beginning. Even if Liam fully trusts my inner voice, it'll still be seen as petty jealousy between sisters. No big deal. Sure enough, a few days later, Liam suggested the three of us siblings go to the mountain temple to pray for blessings and enjoy the spring scenery. No doubt he wants Hazel and me to get closer. I hesitated and struggled for a moment. But in the end, I nodded. Liam's arrangements are perfect. At the same time, my inner voice anxiously rang out in Liam's ear. Is less than I is greater than. What am I supposed to do? Can I still not stop it? As to help her beloved Marcus win the title of military champion, Hazel will stage an accident to hurt him, costing Liam both his legs so he'll never walk again, meaning this time I must go, even if I have to trade my life to ensure Liam's safety. Is less than, I, is greater than, making Liam unable to help but widen his eyes. He now knew the voice in his ear was my inner thoughts. But he couldn't understand how I could know the future. Nor could he believe that Hazel would design such a thing for a lover. She is his own flesh and blood. There must be some misunderstanding. So, just like in my past life, we took a carriage up the mountain to pray at the temple. At the temple, we ran into a young man. I heard Liam mention he was taking the military exam this year. The young man laughed and said,
"What a coincidence. I'm taking the military exam this year too. If I run into you on the arena, I hope you'll go easy on me. You're too kind, my friend."
As the saying goes, you don't hit a smiling face. So since he was being polite, Liam naturally returned the courtesy. He was just about to clasp his hands in salute, when my voice echoed in his ear again. It's him. Marcus, Hazel's beloved. He's actually an enemy spy, ruthless and capable of any evil. If he becomes the military champion, he can infiltrate the imperial court. But Hazel is madly in love with him, willing to betray her country for his sake. This meeting is no coincidence. He's here to scout our party, to confirm we didn't bring many guards, so he can send bandits to ambush Liam on our way down. Liam's hands, clasped in salute, froze. His gaze toward the hastily departing man turned scrutinizing. Hazel watched Marcus leave the whole way, her eyes brimming with barely contained affection. On the way down, sitting in the carriage, he no longer tried to make conversation like before. It seemed he was waiting for something, his heavy stare making Hazel extremely uncomfortable. Suddenly, the carriage jolted violently. Hazel immediately stood up and cried out,
"Oh no, we've run into bandits."
A cold glint flashed in Liam's eyes as Hazel pulled open the curtain in her panic. A group of men in black had already surrounded the carriage.
"What do we do? They outnumber us, and they're armed."
Hazel cried out in a flustered voice, but she already had 1 foot out of the carriage. Just as I thought, a man in black grabbed her and, with a sinister laugh, hauled her onto a horse.
"This official's daughter is as tender as expected, so let's take her up the mountain to be a bandit's bride."
I grabbed Liam's hand, my tone almost pleading, saying, "Liam, don't go." In my past life, Liam, frantic with concern, gave chase on horseback, fell into an ambush, and had his legs severed by those bandits. Liam's face was like frost, but he covered my hand with his and gave it a gentle pat.
I'm not going."
Seeing that Liam truly had no intention of giving chase, both Hazel and the bandits were utterly astonished.
The bandit even stopped his horse,
Looked back at the carriage, and started to taunt.
"You don't even have that much courage, and you want to be the military champion? Watching your own flesh and blood get humiliated, and you don't even dare to make a sound? Face it, you're just a spineless worm."
Hazel grits her teeth, tears falling as she cries out, screaming for her brother over and over. begging him to save her. Liam lets out a cold laugh. He pulls back the carriage curtain and shouts to Hazel.
Now, Hazel, don't panic. They outnumber us. Liam can't help you. Just hang on a little longer. We're going down the mountain for help. We'll be back to save you soon.
Under Hazel's shocked gaze, the carriage actually starts rolling slowly down the mountain. The bandits and Hazel are left staring at each other in disbelief. Even Marcus, hiding in the shadows, can't help but step out. He frowns and asks,
What's going on? Seems your brother doesn't care if you live or die.
Hazel nearly bites through her lower lip. Her eyes filled with venom as she stares where the carriage disappeared. Damn Sterlings. They're all heartless, cold-blooded scum. Just you wait. I'll make them wish they were dead.
In the end, she can only mess up her hair and dust her clothes with dirt, pretending to have barely escaped. She prepares to return home. She's thinking of an excuse, whether to act pitiful and understanding when she gets home, or to confront them right away to make them feel guilty. Suddenly, the tree shadows shake.
Who's there?
From within the shadows, a group of thugs actually steps out. Marcus had already left, displeased with the men he arranged. Now, isolated and helpless, Hazel panics and backs away.
What do you want?
The group doesn't speak. They just slowly close in on her.
Don't hurt me.
Hazel quickly drops to her knees, begging for mercy. I'm an official's daughter. My family is rich. You can have as much as you want, just don't hurt me. But the thugs just let out a couple of cold laughs.
No need to worry about that, miss. Someone's already paid us.
Before Hazel can understand what that means, the men swarm her. They kick and punch her, showing no mercy, aiming straight for her face. Naturally, I arranged for these men. Hazel loves getting kidnapped by bandits, right? As her sister, it's my duty to indulge her little hobby. The mountain forest is quiet. Her screams won't bring anyone. Not until nightfall is Hazel dumped, half dead, at the gate of the Sterling estate. As luck would have it, the heavens oblige. A heavy rain pours down. Hazel, like a drowned rat, is covered in mud. She can only clumsily crawl to knock on the door, begging for someone to save her. Lucky for her, the gatekeeper spots her quickly. A startled cry echoes through the Sterling estate. Too bad. The whole family had already learned what happened on the mountain through my inner voice. Now they were absolutely furious with her. They all think she's just playing the victim again. Even as she lay there moaning in bed, they only offered a few perfunctory words of comfort before slipping away one by one, leaving behind an empty courtyard and Hazel, barely clinging to life. I was the last to leave. Before I left, I took a long, satisfying look at her miserable state. Hazel, you better hold on. Don't you dare die that easily. The sins from your past life won't be paid off that easily. While Hazel was bedridden recovering, Liam participated in the martial arts tournament. He won the tournament. The king was impressed. All that was left was to finalize his official appointment. Coincidentally, Liam happened to run into Marcus during the tournament. He didn't hold back. He beat him to a pulp. His whole face swelled up like a pig's. Now they look like a perfect pair. When Hazel finally regained consciousness, she heard this news. She let out a shriek and passed out cold. When she woke up later, Hazel complained to Liam.
It was just a tournament. Accidents happen. Was it really necessary to go that hard on him?
Liam fired back instantly.
You know accidents happen, he snapped. You're so worried about someone else, but aren't you afraid your own brother might get hurt? What a wonderful sister you are.
Hazel's expression darkened. She forced a smile and said,
It was my fault. I didn't think it through. Please don't be angry, Liam.
Liam snorted coldly. He didn't reply. Hazel went crying to Dad and Mom about how she barely escaped with her life, only to see everyone humoring her with obvious impatience. That's when she finally realized she had become a complete outsider in this family. Her gaze turned ice cold. I thought to myself, oh no, she's ready to go down fighting. Everyone was stunned, turning their heads to look in the direction Hazel had left. 3 days later, the king appointed Liam as a third-rank commander. Normally, a royal decree would be delivered and read by a eunuch to the Sterling estate. But this time was an exception. The king came in person. The entire Sterling family knelt to thank His Majesty's grace. Right at that moment, Hazel suddenly ran out from somewhere. She dropped to her knees with a thud. Hazel,
dare to accuse the entire Sterling family of treason. Their crime is unforgivable.
Even though we knew this was coming, hearing our own daughter say such things still made the whole family's expressions change. Dad's face turned livid with rage. He shouted,
You're talking nonsense.
The letters conspiring with the enemy are hidden in the hidden compartment under Minister Sterling's bed.
Hazel declared with unwavering confidence.
And I also accuse the new military champion of cheating. He drugged Marcus. That's how he stole the title. The leftover drugs can no doubt be found in Liam's courtyard.
She's still trying to cover her own tracks.
Your Majesty, please investigate. I was an orphan, free and happy for 16 years. Roaming free for 16 years, carefree and happy, until one day the Sterlings dragged me here, claiming I was their long-lost daughter. But they've treated me with nothing but coldness.
Mom was trembling, her lips quivering with rage.
When you went missing, We searched day and night to bring you home. Everyone was overjoyed, only to find we'd welcomed such an ungrateful snake.
Hazel said flatly.
Mom was cold, Dad barred me from his study, and Liam acted like I was invisible. When bandits kidnapped me on the mountain, he just left me there.
I sneered. If you hadn't poisoned the medicine, would Mom be cold? If you hadn't tried to frame Dad, would he bar you from his study? If you hadn't conspired with thugs against Liam, would he have left you? Hazel was stunned for a moment. That her sneaky little schemes were an open book to the family, but her shock lasted only a second. She immediately gritted her teeth.
Enough of your lies. The king is here. He'll see justice done for me.
Dad's expression turned icy.
You refuse to see the truth until it's too late.
The next moment, I bowed solemnly to the king. I beg your majesty to send men to search the Sterling estate. Hazel never expected me to be so decisive to ask the king to search the estate himself. She gritted her teeth and lowered her voice.
Chloe, what are you up to now? You think muddying the waters will save your family's skin? Don't even dream of it. Today, your entire family will be executed.
If things had gone as before, Hazel would be right. I watched my family die one by one in my past life, until my turn came. But not this time. Everything has changed. I smiled and glanced back at Hazel. We invited the king here. Hazel froze in place. 3 days ago, sensing her plan, Dad went to the king. He said he'd caught an enemy spy and to catch them all, asked the king to help stage this play. The king agreed, and so today's scene unfolded. Soon, the search party uncovered plenty. They focused on searching Hazel's courtyard. They found many secret letters proving contact with the enemy. The king read the letters. His face changed dramatically. He immediately called his personal eunuch over and gave an order. Then he turned to Hazel, his teeth gritted in anger, and had her thrown into the dungeon. For years, the enemy state had been trying every trick in the book to plant their people in our court. Hazel's letters mentioned many individuals, some of whom were already royal officials, and that was just the tip of the iceberg. To think our kingdom was being eaten away right under his nose, without him even knowing. How could the king not be absolutely furious? Hazel looked like her world had just ended. Her face was full of disbelief. She couldn't wrap her head around the fact that she'd been played from the very start. Only when the guards grabbed her arms did she finally start struggling and begging for mercy.
Dad, Mom, Liam, Chloe.
She called out to every single family member. But the entire family remained expressionless. They watched coldly as she was dragged away. Soon after, based on my testimony, Marcus was thrown in jail. The king found a complete list of names at his residence and swiftly purged the entire court with an iron fist. The heavy weight in my heart finally lifted. I relaxed. I was so exhausted, I couldn't even lift a finger. I slept for a full day and night. When I opened my eyes, I saw my parents and Liam looking at me with concern. They treated me even better than before. I gradually told them about my previous life. I told them how, in that life, they were gradually turned against me by her manipulation. They favored Hazel, which led to our family's tragic end. They felt a faint sense of guilt, and tried their best to make it up to me. They were good to me. But deep down, I felt nothing. I wasn't overly touched, nor did I feel disgust. Someone who's died once sees most things beyond life itself as trivial. To be fair, my parents and brother treated me well enough. But once something is broken, it takes 1,000 times the effort and time to put it back together. Over time, if they treat me well, I'm happy to be a good daughter and sister, but if things change again, with the experience from my extra life, I opened a few shops and saved up enough money. I have the means to move out and live independently. In this life, I saved my whole family. I owe them nothing. I even went to the dungeon to see Hazel one last time. One moment she'd glare at me venomously, screaming for me to die. The next, she'd whimper Chloe, begging me to save her. Marcus, locked in the next cell, grew annoyed and threw a small stone at her.
Stop howling, you mad woman. Who's going to save you now?
Hazel laughed and cried. One moment she called Marcus heartless, the next she praised his handsome looks. I shook my head gently. I had no desire to watch this farce any longer. The sky is overcast today, but I think tomorrow will be a fine day. Will be a fine day.